Good morning. I'm Mrs. Faria. I'm reading chapters 15, 16, and 17 for you guys today. Chapter 15. Everybody, please take your seats, Dr. Zinchenko said to the parents gathered in a conference room at the Parker House Hotel. When do our kids come home? Asked one of the mothers. Rose has soccer at 2, said another. The librarian nodded. Mr. Lemoncello will. Just then, an accordion panel door at the far end of the room flew open, revealing the eccentric billionaire dressed in a bright purple tracksuit and a plumed pirate hat. He was eating a slice of 7-layer birthday cake. Good morning, or as they're currently saying in Reykjavik, Góðsdagur, which means good afternoon, because there is a 4-hour time difference between Ohio and Iceland, a fact that I first learned spinning a globe in my local library. Mr. Lemoncello, his banana shoes burp squeaking, stepped out of a room filled with dozens of black and white television monitors. The kind security guards watch at their workstations. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on this grand and auspicious day. Today, I am pleased to announce the most marvelously stupendous game ever created, Escape from Mr. Lemoncello's library. The entire library will be the game board. Your children will be the game pieces. The winner will become famous all over the world. How? Asked one of the fathers. By starring in all of my commercials this holiday season. TV, radio, print, billboards, cardboard cutouts in toy stores. His or her face will be everywhere. Mrs. Daly raised her hand. Will they get paid? Oh, yes. In fact, you'll probably want to call me the giver. And what exactly does Haley have to do to win? Escape from the library. I thought the game's title more or less gave that bit away. Mr. Lemoncello tapped a button on his pirate hat, and an animated version of the library's floor plan was instantly displayed on the conference room's plasma screen TVs. Whoever is the first to use what they find in the library to find their way out of the library will be crowned the winner. Now then, the children cannot use the front door or the fire exits or set off any alarms. They cannot go out the way they went in. They can only use their wits, cunning, and intelligence to decipher clues and solve riddles that will eventually lead them to the location of the library's super secret alternate exit. And, ladies and gentlemen, I assure you such an alternate exit does indeed exist. The parents around the table started buzzing with excitement. Participation, of course, will be purely optional and voluntary, said Mr. Lemoncello, clasping his hands behind his back and stalking around the room. Several parents pulled out cell phones. And please, do not attempt to phone, email, text, fax, or send smoke signals to your children, encouraging them to enter the competition. We have blocked all communication into and out of the library. Only those who truly wish to stay and play shall stay and play. Anyone who chooses to leave the library will go home with lovely parting gifts and a souvenir pirate hat very similar to mine. They'll also be invited to my birthday party tomorrow afternoon. He held up his crumb-filled plate. I've been sampling potential cake candidates for breakfast. Mrs. Keegan crossed her arms over her chest. Will this game be dangerous? No, said Mr. Lemoncello. Your children will be under constant video surveillance by security personnel in the library's control center. Dr. Zinchenko and I will be monitoring their progress here in my private video viewing suite. Should anything go wrong, we have paramedics, firefighters, and a team of former Navy SEALs, each with the heart of a samurai, standing by to swoop in and rescue your children. It'll be like the Hunger Games, but with lots of food and no bows or arrows. Why not just have the kids play one of your other games, a parent suggested. Why all this fuss? Because, my dear friends, these 12 children have lived their entire lives without a public library. As a result, they have no idea how extraordinarily useful, helpful, and funful, a word I recently invented, a library can be. This is their chance to discover that a library is more than a collection of dusty old books. It is a place to learn, explore, and grow. Mr. Lemoncello, I think what you're doing is fantastic, said one of the mothers. Thank you, said Mr. Lemoncello, bowing and clicking his heels, which make them bruck like a chicken. If any of you would like to check up on your children," announced Dr. Zinchenko. "Please join us in the adjoining room." "Oh, they're a lot of fun to watch," said Mr. Lemoncello. "However, Mr. and Mrs. Keeley, I'm afraid your son Kyle does not enjoy the theme song from Rocky quite as much as I do." Chapter 16. Rocky had done its job. Kyle and everybody else locked inside the library was definitely awake. Even Charles Chiltington had come down to the rotunda reading room from Mr. Lemoncello's private suite. The only essay writer not with the group was Sierra Russell, who, Kyle figured, was off looking for another book to read. "We're still locked in?" squealed Haley Daly. "This is so lame," added Sean Keegan. "It's like 11:30. I've got things to do, places to be." "Look, you guys," said Kyle. "They'll probably open the front door right after we eat or something." "Well, where's that ridiculous librarian?" said Charles Chiltington, who was never very nice when there weren't any adults in the room. "Yeah," said Rose Vermette. "I can't stay here all day. I have a soccer game at 2. "And dudes," said Sean Keegan, "I have a life." "Do you children require assistance?" said a soft motherly voice. It was the semi-transparent holographic image of Mrs. Tobin, the librarian from the 1960s. She was hovering a few inches off the ground in front of the center desk. "Yes," said Kayla Corson. "How do we get out of here?" The librarian blinked, the way a second-hand calculator, the one your oldest brother dropped on the floor a billion times, does when it's figuring out a square root. "I'm sorry," said the robotic librarian. "I have not been provided with the answer to that question." "Will we be doing brunch here this morning?" Chiltington asked politely. "I'm not hungry, but some of my chums sure are, and after all, it is 11:30. The kitchen staff recently placed fresh food in the Book Nook Cafe. "Thank you, Mrs. Tobin," said Chiltington. "Would you like anything? A bowl of oatmeal, perhaps?" "No, thank you." "Charles, I am a hologram. I do not eat food." "I guess that's how you stay so super skinny." Kyle shook his head. The smarmy guy was oilier than a soggy sack of fries. He was even sucking up to a hologram. Chiltington and the others traipsed off to have breakfast, but Kyle and Akimi stayed with the holographic librarian. I have a question," said Kyle. "I'm listening." "Is the library lock-in over? Are we supposed to go home now? Mr. Lemoncello will be addressing that issue shortly." "Okay, thanks, Mrs. Tobin." "You are welcome, Kyle." After the librarian faded to a flicker, Akimi said, "By the way, Kyle, before we leave, you need to check out that room I slept in last night." "The boardroom?" "Yeah. They call it that because, guess what? It's filled with board games." "All Lemoncellos?" "Nuh-uh. Stuff from other companies. Some of it goes way back to the 1890s. I think it's Mr. Lemoncello's personal collection. It's like a museum up there." Kyle's eyes went wide. "You hungry?" he asked. "Not really. We ate so much last night." "You think we have time to check out this game museum? Follow me." The two friends bounded up a spiral staircase to the second floor, where they found another set of steps to take them up to the third. When he entered the boardroom, Kyle was blown away. Wow! The walls were lined with bookcases filled with antique games, tin toys, and card games. "This is incredible!" "I guess," said Akimi, "if, you like games." Kyle smiled, which, I do. They spent several quiet minutes wandering around the room, taking in all the wacky games that people used to play. There was one display case featuring 8 games with amazingly illustrated box tops. A tiny spotlight illuminated each one. "Wonder what's so special about these games," said Kyle. Maybe those were Mr. Lemoncello's favorites when he was a kid. Maybe, but the slogan etched into the glass case confused Kyle. Luigi Lemoncello, the first and the last word in games. "But those aren't Lemoncello games," he mumbled. The first spotlighted game in the case was Howdy Doody's TV game. After that came Husker Du. "You don't say." Like Minds, Fun City, Big Six sports games, Get the Message, and Rough and Ready. "It's a puzzle," Kyle said with a grin. "I thought they were games." "They are, but if you string together the first or last word of each game title," he tapped the glass in front of the first box on the bottom shelf. You get the message. Really, said Akimi, sounding extremely skeptical. You're sure it's not just a bunch of junk somebody picked up for like 50 cents at a yard sale? Positive, Kyle pointed to each box top as he cracked the code. Howdy. Do you like fun games? Get ready. Miguel Fernandez barged into the boardroom. Here you are. We need you guys in the Electronic Learning Center now. Why? Charles Chiltington wolfed down his breakfast, then raced up here to finish the game he started last night so he can enter his name as the first high scorer. So, the game he's been playing is all about medieval castles and dungeons. This time Akimi said it. So? He's escaping through the sewers. The game has smell-o-vision. You can smell a medieval sewer? Trust me, it is foul and disgusting. The three of them dashed up the hall and entered the stinky room where Charles was sitting in a vibrating pedestal chair, thumbing his controller. As his avatar sloshed through a sewer pipe, the subwoofers built into his seat made every squish and splat rumble across the floor. Whoa, said Kyle. Knock it off, Charles. You're pumping out total tear gas. Because I'm in the sewers underneath the horse stables. It's the secret way out of the castle. I'm going to win another game. That's 2 for me, Keeley. How many for you? Yo, said Miguel. This room is 2 stories above the cafe. The ductwork is connected. What's your point? You're making everybody's food downstairs smell like horse manure. Who cares? I'm winning. Charles's chair went flump again. But this time Kyle smelled pine trees? Like one of those evergreen air fresheners people hang inside their cars. Ah, this stupid thing is broken. Charles jumped out of the chair and reared back to kick it. I wouldn't do that if I were you, said Kyle. Why not? Because there's a security camera over there and it's aimed right at you. What? Where? See the blinking red light? Suddenly, an image of Kyle pointing up at the camera lens appeared on every video screen in the Electronic Learning Center until he was replaced by Mr. Lemoncello. Chapter 17. Excellent escape plan, Charles, said Mr. Lemoncello on the video screens. Thank you, sir, said Chiltington, smoothing out his khaki pants. And just so you know, I saw an ant crawling up the side of this seat. That's why I almost kicked it. How very thoughtful of you, Charles. Mr. Lemoncello? said Akimi. Yes? How come the sewer started smelling like a pine tree? Because I enjoy the odor of pine trees much more than the stench of horse poop. How about you? Definitely. Now then, will everybody else please join us upstairs in the Electronic Learning Center? I have a very important announcement to make. Kyle heard feet clomping up the stairs, and soon Andrew, Bridget, Yasmin, Sean, Haley, Rose, and Kayla hurried into the room. Are we all here? Said Mr. Lemoncello. Everybody except Sierra Russell, said Kyle. Ah, yes. I saw her downstairs reading When You Reach Me by Rebecca Steed. We'll reach her later. It's nearly noon, and I'm eager to move on to the next round of our competition. What competition? Asked Yasmin Smith-Snyder. The one we are about to begin. Sir, said Sean Keegan, I have stuff to do today. That's fine, Sean. You are, of course, free to leave. If any of the rest of you do not wish to stay and play, kindly deposit your library cards in the discard pile. A tile on the floor popped open, and an empty goldfish bowl atop an ornate column rose up about 3 feet. Just drop it in the bowl there, Sean. Attaboy. Follow the flashing red arrows in the floor to the nearest exit, where you will receive a lovely parting gift, along with my everlasting admiration for your essay writing abilities. Bright red arrows danced across the floor. Sean followed them. What happens if we decide to stay? Asked Akimi. You will be given the chance to play a brand new, exciting game. Is there a prize for the winner? Demanded Haley Daly. Oh, yes. Now Miguel shot up his hand. Mr. Lemoncello, what do we have to do to win? Simple. Find your way out of the library using only what's in the library. Awesome. Lame, mumbled Kayla Corson. I'm out of here. She plunked her library card into the fishbowl and followed the blinking arrows out the door. Does anyone else want or need to leave? Sorry, sir. I have soccer at 2, said Rose Vermette. See you later, guys. She dropped her card into the discard bowl. The instant she did, bells rang, confetti fell from the ceiling, and every electronic console in the game room started ding-ding-dinging. Congratulations, Rose, cried Mr. Lemoncello, who had put on a pointy party hat. For sticking to your prior commitments, you will receive our special prior commitment sticker prize, a complete set of Lemoncello sticker picture games and a laptop computer to play them on. Enjoy. Charles Chiltington stepped a little closer to the security camera as Rose Burnett skipped out of the room. Sir, might we assume that the prize for winning your brand new game will be even better than a laptop computer? Yes, said Mr. Lemoncello, taking off his party hat. You may so assume. I'm in, said Chiltington. Me too, said Kyle. Me too, added Akimi, Miguel, Andrew, Bridget, Yasmin, and Haley. Sierra Russell wandered into the room. Her nose was buried so deep in her book, she didn't even notice Mr. Lemoncello's gigantic face on all the video screens. Is something going on? She said, mostly to her book pages. You bet, boomed Mr. Lemoncello. Sierra's head snapped up. Oh, hello, sir. Greetings, Sierra. Sorry to interrupt your reading. Just have a quick question. Will you be staying or leaving? Well, sir, I'd like to stay, if that's okay. Okay, it's wondermous. Another word I just made up. Now then, to read you the rules of the game, because every game needs rules, here's your friend and mine, Dr. Yanina Zinchenko. The video screen switched to a close-up of the librarian with the red hair and the glasses. Your exit from the library must be completed between noon today and noon tomorrow, said Dr. Zinchenko. Mr. Lemoncello's head popped into a corner of her screen. Tomorrow's my birthday, by the way. Mark your calendars. And he ducked back out of the frame. Our security guards will continue holding your cell phones, said Dr. Zinchenko. You may not use the library computers to contact anyone outside the building. You may, however, use them to conduct research. You may also request 3 different types of outside assistance. 1, ask an expert. 1, librarian consultation. And 1, extreme challenge. Please be advised, the extreme challenges are, as the name implies, extremely difficult. If you pass the challenge, your reward will be great. However, if you fail, you will be eliminated from the competition. Kyle figured he'd avoid asking for one of those, unless he extremely needed to. To use any of these lifelines, Dr. Zinchenko continued, simply summon Mrs. Tobin. Chiltington raised his hand. Yes, Charles. Would you mind telling us what the prize will be for the winner? The video screen switched to an image of Mr. Lemoncello, who had done some sort of quick change. Now he was wearing sunglasses and had a silk ascot tucked into his shirt collar. He looked like a flashy Hollywood movie star from 1939. Fame and glory! The winner will become my new spokesperson and will star in all of my holiday promotions. We'll be famous? Gushed Yasmin, fluffing up her hair and smiling at the security camera. Haley stepped in front of Yasmin. I've done some modeling work for Sherman Shoes in Old Town. Yasmin stepped in front of Haley. I was an extra in a hot dog commercial once. Well, I'm a cheerleader. Yasmin isn't. While the 2 girls continued primping and posing for the camera, Dr. Zinchenko came back on screen to quickly rattle off some final words. Your library cards are the keys to everything you will need. The library staff is here to help you find whatever it is you are looking for. The way out is not the way you came in. You may not use any of the fire exits. If you do, an alarm will sound, and you will be immediately eliminated from the game. For safety purposes, you will be under constant video surveillance, and you will be recorded. In the unlikely event of an emergency, you will be evacuated from the building. Creating an incident that requires evacuation will not count as having discovered a way to exit the library. Any questions? Just one, said Andrew Peckelman, adjusting his goggle-sized glasses with his fingertip. When exactly will the game begin? Mr. Lemoncello's face reappeared on the screens. Good question, Andrew. Oh, my, it's noon. How about, let's say, I don't know, now. And that's the end of chapter 17.